What up, Bulls Nation? We've got a live CHGO Bulls podcast coming up for y'all right around the corner. We've completed all of our player grades for the 24-25 Bulls season, but would those grades be complete without grading their head coach and their head of basketball ops? We're grading AK and Billy Donovan seasons next. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls podcast, coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls _ Peck. That guy laughing is Big Dave. Bow, bow. BNWL Sports. And you like it? I think Dave just got to a certain part of today's rundown that he had not yet seen. I was creative with my notes. Will the Go Gottlieb perfectly coiffed as always. Will _ Gottlieb and the queen of the controls, KDW. What up, Katie?
I'm not laughing as hard as Dave is. I'll tell you that.
Hey, hit that like button if y'all want to round out our week with yet another tank spin on our last show before our live NBA Draft Lottery show happening this coming Monday night. Hit the like. How you doing, Dave?
If I haven't told you how much I love you, Matthew.
Well, I love you too, buddy.
Did you see it?
No, but I'm okay, excited to be surprised.
Yo, man.
Trying to do some last
dude is
cramming here.
hilarious.
Dave Bussing got laughing when scanning today's rundown wasn't a big enough clue. We're grading AK and Billy today, y'all. Oh, I feel like, we had a good range of grades for our Bulls players this season.
Yeah.
Some got some deserving A's, some got some deserving C's.
Yeah.
A couple of people got a couple D's here and there.
Yeah.
And the season would not be complete without also evaluating the people running this team, the coach and the executive. And because we only had one game last night in the NBA playoffs, and it was a pretty predictable blowout for the Wolves beating the Steph Curry-less Warriors, we can skip that. We'll do another playoff recap early next week. But today, let's dive right in to the good stuff.
Dive right.
Are we ready?
Well, before you do it.
Sure.
Draymond is a fool. Get well soon, Anthony Edwards. I know he played, but I just want him to be healthy.
He came back. Did he finish the game after coming back?
He did.
Draymond, yes. He's up to five. He's up to 5 T's.
He's ridiculous.
7 gets you a suspension in the playoff accumulation.
It's ridiculous, bro.
He loves throwing some bows and some fists.
Yeah, he did. I didn't do anything.
Oh, I didn't do anything. What up, Flipside? What up, Paul? What up, Shot on Sports? What up, Fish? All right, guys. So for AK, as far as how we grade an executive, we'll do him, then we'll do Billy. Goat, it was your brilliant idea to grade him in a few different categories.
Yeah, it doesn't really work to just do offense, defense.
Right. We will grade Billy Donovan on overall the Bulls' offense and defense this season. But when it came to AK and the season that he had as the lead executive, we figured we'll grade the draft, we'll grade free agent moves, we'll grade trades, and then his overall vision for where this team is going. And then, of course, meathead grade for him as well as a meathead grade for Billy. So let's start with the draft for AK. Obviously,
this is just this year, too, by the way.
This is just this year. We are not evaluating AK's job performance since he came on board. This is just this year, from the end of last season to the end of this season. And with draft, okay, wow, we have wide-ranging grades.
We really do.
Go, you gave him an A+. I gave him a C+, Dave a D. I incorporated into my grade. Yes, he drafted Modest Buzelis with the 11th overall pick, and that's looking like a really solid pick right now, especially what we saw from Modest in the final third of the season when his role, his minutes, and even starting role increased. I also took into account AK got lucky. The Modest just fell in their laps at 11.
So I got a D.
Like, congratulations for not screwing that up and taking the guy that was among many consensus draft boards top 5.
Yeah.
was, not that long before that, a year removed from the 24 NBA draft happening, consensus number 1 potential pick.
Yeah.
He fell inexplicably to 11, and AK said, he seems good. Yeah. He's also got, some similar roots to our homeland. He's a Chicago kid in a way. Mm-hmm. What can go wrong? I'll take that guy.
Yeah.
I didn't give him a whole lot of credit for making that pick.
Yeah. I didn't either. It's kind of why I got the D there. Like, it fell right into your lap. It was kind of like a layup. Of course you're going to take it. When we were doing the draft show, we were like, come on, Modest. When we got to about the 8th pick, we were like, come on, Modest. Oh, they took Zach Edey? Yeah, of course. Okay, yeah, come on. Because we knew where this was going. And I know this was for this year, but my brain immediately went to when you had to pick on actual talent and do it. And that is the 4th pick that he had. Okay, who you got? Who you getting? We know who the top 3 was. Who you getting at number 4? Passed on Tyrese Halliburton, ended up with Patrick Williams. The rest is history. So for me, it's just like it kind of fell into your lap. It was an easy one. Maybe I could have gave you a C for that, for doing that. But I didn't feel like it. So I was like, I'm going to give him a D on that.
I don't want to.
It was simply that, Goat. I just didn't feel like you deserved that for something that was handed to you. It's like giving you an A for getting Cooper Flag or something. You know what I'm saying? Of course you got Cooper Flag. You know what I mean? He's there. Like, it's Cooper Flag, bro.
Yeah, that's fair. I probably went a little too high. I feel like when I initially gave the grades to Katie, I was thinking like he just got one of the best players in the draft class, like that would have gone a lot higher with the 11th pick. Like he got really good value there, and I wanted to give him credit for that. I do feel like there is something to be said for the fact that he did fall into his lap, and I am sensitive to that argument. But at the same point, like there's been other drafts where guys fell into his lap and he passed on them anyway. So I do feel like he took the guy. Like I was saying like maybe they should have gone with Nikola Topic and traded Kobe and not done the Giddey thing and gone that way and like taken a step back this year. So I do think that was the obvious choice. I think it was the best choice, but he did make the pick. And Modest has turned into a staple franchise, piece, a building block. I don't want to say he's like the franchise player, but he's a very valuable piece. And I think they got excess value for where they drafted. And I probably went a little bit overboard, but I went very much underboard on the rest of them.
I think you went. I think you were honestly right in line. I think I went. You know what I'm saying? A little more left on that.
Brazil popular in the comments, kind of seeing your line of thought, Goat, saying I disagree. 10 front offices passed on Modest. Credit to Acme for not doing the same and seeing his potential. Sure, I mean they liked Modest. I'm guessing we're fortunate. I can't remember. Did AK express like verbally when he did his draft night press conference that they were surprised that he was still there at 11? I would assume they would be.
He was definitely surprised.
Yeah. So if you're surprised that dude's still on the board at 11,
but they're also gonna always say that, like,
right? Yes.
I mean, there was the famous thing about like I can't remember if it was like Mike Zarin or Danny Ainge when they were drafting in 2011 when Draymond was in the second round. They're like, yeah, Draymond was number 2 on our board. We just happened to have Jared Sullinger right ahead of him. So
right.
Like, of course they're going to say that. But and the fact of the matter is, like, they took the right guy when Khalil Ware would have been a great pick, when Devin Carter was somebody that was really, being rumored to be part of that. They could have maybe traded up and done a bad. So those are a lot of like counterfactuals and things that didn't actually happen. But I do think that getting Modest where they did and actually making that choice, I wanted to give him credit.
But it also fell in line, like what Matt mentioned, the kind of things that he actually likes. Like you got that young guy, that toolsy guy, but you also got a Chicago guy. AK has shown he definitely likes people who are from the area to be on the team. I think that played into it as well. So getting somebody that, hits your philosophy, is a layup for me,
Yeah. But also think about like 2022, right? It was Dalen Terry. They could have had Christian Brown, Walker Kessler,
Texas Ranger.
There's a variety of guys. Even like, Andrew Nembhard was a second-round pick. Peyton Watson has been much better than Dalen. So, yes, I liked Dalen in that draft class. I thought he was like an interesting piece, but like he made the right choice on this one, and I think that's
give him credit for making the right choice.
Sure. The other thing that I built into my draft grade is that if it were like, oh, he drafted Modest, I like Modest a lot, I'll give him an A for drafting Modest. The other element that I built into grading AK on draft is how he values draft picks in general, how they are a part of what he's trying to build, successfully or not quite yet successfully. And the fact that, good job getting Modest at 11 last year. You are, whether you want to vocally admit it or not, AK, starting a rebuild in the post-DeMar Zach era. You know what helps with rebuilds? Several first-round picks. Multiple first-round picks in consecutive years. Look around. Do the Bulls have any of that action going on with this guy running things? No. Yay. Way to nail Modest at 11. This year, what are they drafting 12th? Maybe they'll get lucky and jump to the top 4. We'll see on Monday. Wherever that is, you got one. You got one first-round pick, and it's probably going to be middle of the first round.
Yeah, it'll be right there in the middle.
I'm grading how he drafts, but on top of that, how he is valuing the draft as an executive trying to build a winning team, and I don't think he values it enough.
No, he takes swings. He takes risk, which I don't mind taking risk, especially, a little late in the draft and stuff, but he's shown he's taking a risk also within that top 4 as well. So he's kind of a risk-taking kind of guy. Sometimes it pays out, when you get an Ayo DeSumo, even a Julian Phillips. Sometimes it doesn't, when you get a Patrick Williams. So you're going to take those big swings. You got to make sure you make big contact on one of those things, and not just singles and not just doubles. Like, you got to hit that joint up out the park or get you a triple or something. I know it's a lot of baseball analogies here right here. But that's what it has to be when you're a guy who's a risk taker. I don't mind risk takers. I'm a risk taker. Like, I love taking risks. Like, that is a cool thing. But sometimes they have to be calculated. You know what I mean? You got to be calculated in what you're doing out there. So it can't be a risk every single time. Sometimes you just have to take what is right there in front of you. And that's exactly what he did on this one. Modest was right there in front of him. Wasn't a big risk at all. Definitely fell into what he likes. So he went ahead and he took him.
So I just wanted to say, I totally agree with that, Matt, what you're saying. To me, I factored that more into, which we'll talk about
trades,
and into overall vision. The other thing I'll say, that what's interesting about the draft is, for example, I'm looking back at the 2023 draft when the Bulls didn't have a pick, but they used 2 future seconds to trade up to
into the second
35 to get Julian Phillips. Right?
I remember.
Phillips, good pick, probably not a great pick. Do you give him credit for hitting on that guy, or do you give him a demerit for not taking Gigi Jackson, who was taken 10 picks later, or not taking Tumani Kamara, who was taken 17 picks later? I don't think there's a guy that was feasibly in that range that he took Modest in. That was, it's not in the second round, you could lump a lot of these guys together. Yeah. There wasn't anybody for me that was a better pick. But also there wasn't anybody that turned out better than Modest. So I think some of that is process driven for me, and some of it is also outcome driven.
Fair enough. All right, let's dip into free agency before our first break. If you want to put the report card back up, Katie. Free agency grades. We got a D, we got a C, we got an F. Okay. Just a quick overview. Patrick Williams obviously was the big one. Restricted free agent, finishing his rookie contract. 5 years, $90 million with that player option that the Bulls love out to hand out like candy. Jalen Smith, 3 years, $27. THT, after signing initially an Exhibit 10 contract, signed a 1 year, $2.5 million deal. And then not quite free agency because it happened as a in-season extension on his expiring. But if you wanted to lump deciding leading into the trade deadline instead of trading Lonzo Ball to re-sign him, you could throw that into this category of free agency grade as well. So we all had 3 different grades entirely. Goat, yours was the worst. I was in the middle. Dave, you were the kindest. What did you like of any of those things about AK and how he handled his free agency this year?
I don't hate Jalen Smith.
Okay.
Will is going to, money-wise and everything Will breaks down is definitely a reason why it can be a failure and things like that. But just as a player, I think that's kind of what I looked at it like. Just as a player, I thought it was that's solid. THC, I thought was solid as well. I don't think anybody was expecting anything from THC. He wasn't really in the league. So to sign him and to get him, and you really got some real straight-up value out of that young man to the point where, you kind of revived his career. So I give credit for that, for sure. So those 2 things I kind of was you know what? Yeah, I don't hate Jalen. I understand the money and what it does. You know what I'm saying? What you can't do. You know what I'm saying? Because of it. But just as the player and how he fit on the squad, he came in from day one and he was just a solid player. That's why I gave him the grade good soldier. a GS, bro. Like, that's really what he was on this team. And like I mentioned, THC already with that. So, yeah, I was like, sure, I'll give him a C on that.
Maybe I'll get into it after the break here.
Okay, let's knock out our first couple ads, and we'll come back and continue talking about AK's work on the free agent market over the past year. Hit that like button if you want a tank spin later. I want a tank spin. I know Goat need one.
He needs it.
Need one.
Gotta have it.
Today's show brought to you by Sunnyside. It's looking like a Sunnyside Friday out there, y'all.
It is.
Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer, and summer is on the way. Y'all look at this weekend's forecast?
I did.
Tomorrow, looking like low 70s and sunny here in Chicago.
Low.
Woo, yes, please.
This way.
Sunnyside, your one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs, and they have an expertly curated menu with, get this, over 100 different strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Sunnyside is Illinois' favorite dispensary with locations in the city, including Wrigleyville and River North, reaching out to the various suburbs, all the way down to Champaign, even up there in South Beloit, near that Wisconsin border. If you're starting out, Sunnyside has expert guidance and brands they know you'll like and can help you make your selections from great brands like Good News and Mindy's. Even if you're a pro, they probably have something that you don't know about or haven't tried yet. So why not ask them and check out the Wellness Advisor Staff Picks collection. Visit Sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO when you check out to get that 50% off. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buy every day, only for 21 and older and Illinois Med Card holders.
Shout out to Shirtless One out there stretching out.
Hey.
Rate.com, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, if you've ever tried to buy a home, which I have, get a loan. I'm sure somebody has.
Flex.
Or just deal with money stuff in general. That's everybody. You know that it can be a lot. That's why we got to tell you about the Rate app, and it is seriously, ladies and gentlemen, a game changer. You can get pre-approved for a mortgage in minutes without the need to jump through a million hoops. And if you're thinking about a home equity loan or a personal loan, guess what? You can secure one in under 15 days. The Rate app also helps you find the best homeowners and auto insurance based on what you actually need. The whole thing is powered by AI. It's the only AI Matt will approve. So it's smart and it saves you time and money. And that's why he approves it. It's not customer service. And something that is an unexpected bonus, they've added over 800 free wellness videos, stuff like meditation, breathing exercises, stretching, basically tools to help you feel better mentally and physically. So if you're stressed out about a loan or a mortgage, or seriously, just life in general, just let the Rate app handle it. Because once that's covered, you can hit one of those free wellness apps and chill the heck out. It's the one app that helps you with both your wallet and your well-being and your brain and your mind too. Download the Rate app today to get started. You see that on your screen? Scan it. Do that. Download it and enjoy. RateApp.com.
All right, y'all. Go. What were you saying about AK and free agency?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit with Jalen Smith. Not like a bad player by any means, but I think it's just like he represents to me a short-sightedness with the general approach, and using that money when you could have been using it, I think, in other ways, better ways, to be able to take on bad contracts for draft picks. And that, again, is going to lead into the overall vision.
Yeah, definitely.
But, like, to me, yeah, he got, I think, Smith on a fine value deal. It was just, like, not the best use of resources. THG, I think, was a fine player, but, like, he's going to walk for nothing in free agency. Like, he doesn't turn that into value when he can or when he should. Patrick Williams, I thought that was a fine contract. Like, by the end of it, it's going to be effectively the mid-level exception. Patrick was, like, not playable this year. That's like $18 million of dead money on your books right now.
Yeah.
So that was really bad. And I think the process with the Patrick one in particular, like, I don't like giving him a player option when the value there is supposed to be, as the cap rises, to get a flat contract is good, but, like, you're missing out on the excess value when you don't have him locked up. But maybe that's a fine thing if it's a team option because you don't want that money on your books anymore because Patrick's been really bad.
Yeah.
But instead it was a player option,
Yeah.
which now he's going to be on the books for 4 more years. So I didn't like that. I did not like letting him get to or signing him before getting to restricted free agency, putting pressure on another team to sign him. I understand that there is an element of like, we didn't want another team to come in with a bigger offer. But to me, that's just like scared money. You know, it's like,
don't make none, baby.
He's not like approaching this from, and it's because of the way that he set himself up, but he's just not putting himself in a position where he can make good plays. And so everything is timid. Everything is trying to just not lose a deal instead of trying to win a deal.
Change my grade. No, he's right. I was about to sit here and defend him when you got to the Patrick Williams part because I was going to be like, well, did you really know he was about to have the worst season of his career when you signed that? Like, did you? Because we sat here and we would having conversations like, dude, signing him under $20 million, that's not terrible.
Yeah.
If you can get this, and this.
Yeah.
I don't think AK thought he was about to have the worst season of his career. Then Will Gottlieb slaps you in the face with the player option, and it's like, oh yes, I forgot all about that. Damn, that was terrible. That is not a good thing.
And it's like
fifth year player option.
But again,
Diesel 11 in the comments. It's not that the P. Will pick was a failure. It's the 5-year runway that's unconscionable.
But what I'm trying to say is I think 5 years is actually a way to get excess value on contracts, especially if it's a flat rate deal. That money is staying the same as the cap goes up. That money becomes a smaller portion of the cap the longer it's on your books. So getting that 5th-year deal, I think with Giddey, for example, like that would be valuable. We've seen that with Kobe and Aya where they only got 3-year deals, and now the good value that you had on those is off the books, and you're losing that value there. So like in terms of process, I liked that part of it. Yeah. The player option I really did not like, and not letting him get to restricted free agency or getting an offer sheet I really did not like.
Yeah,
so
that part. Yeah.
I think to me, like that deal was like, even in terms of process, it was a D to me, but then the outcome was like, obviously not.
I can't argue that. That is all fact. It is all fact.
And before we move on to trade grades for AK, the one, and like Dave, I know that you enjoyed plenty of what you saw from Jalen Smith, and you like him as a player.
I did.
That's another reason that my grade for AK, as far as his free agent signings between the Pat one and Jalen, was low.
Okay.
Because like, can Jalen be a useful player for the Bulls for the next couple of years? Probably in some capacity. This year, he had like his worst season statistically of his career. His 3-point shooting fell by 10% when AK is like, I'm signing this big because he's another big who can space the floor.
He lost his job.
Also, I'm about to say that too. Also losing his job as well.
Also lost his job to a dude they just
signed.
Showed up in a trade. Not because they targeted in a trade.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So not great.
My grades changed.
Okay, so with that, let's get the report card back up, Katie. Trades. How did AK do with his trades? And this could largely depend out there at Bulls Nation, if you have different opinions, how you feel about Josh Giddey, because obviously that's a big part of this. This season essentially began with the early offseason and him making that big, breaking news trade. Player for player swap.
Yeah.
Y'all can have our defensive ace, specialty player Alex Caruso. We want Josh Giddey. On top of that, of course, in early free agency days, there was the DeMar DeRozan sign and trade to Sacramento.
Yeah.
Allowing DeMar to get paid on that 3-year, $74 million deal. Nice. The Bulls get Chris Duarte, remember him? No. And some second-round pick action. The other element of that trade, of course, is that the Kings sent Harrison Barnes to the Spurs, not the Bulls. The Bulls could not absorb Harrison Barnes' contract, in part because a few days before this trade went down, they signed Jalen Smith in free agency. Yeah. And then, of course, the big one midseason, trading Zach Lavine to reunite with his old pal DeMar DeRozan in Sacramento. We know the return there from collectively Sacramento and San Antonio. Herter, Collins, Trey Jones, and, of course, we don't need to worry about protecting our pick, says AK. So let's go to the play-in tournament because we got it back from the Spurs. Mission accomplished. Trade grades, gentlemen. What did I see there? Two Ds and a C? 2 Cs and a D?
Yeah, I gave it a C plus, I believe.
Okay, 2 Ds and a C plus.
The main that's really driven by Josh Giddey and his play on that. Because I'm on record. I will never like the trade Caruso for Giddey because of what you did not do. Well, how you didn't maximize what you could have gotten. I mean, to the team that just has the most picks of any team in the NBA, and you don't walk away with one of them will always just bother me. But the play of Josh Giddey, you can't deny just how well that young man played, especially when those other trades were made and guys were kind of moved out the way, and it was really truly put on him to be that guy. He produced, man, like damn near averaged that triple-double during that time after the All-Star break. So he was really, really good. Hit probably one of the greatest regular season shots in Bulls history, top 3. You know, if you want to say it's the best, it could be an argument made for that too. Like, it was incredible. He brought a lot of joy to Bulls fans doing that kind of stuff. And the outlook on his future is also brighter because of how he played and what he did and what he improved on coming into the season. So, yeah, you give you credit because of what was produced from that trade. So I give him the credit for that as well in this. So Giddey is the one that is carrying it. Also, the Zach Lavine trade, you had to get something. You had to walk away with something. So the players he got back all contributed to that run also that the Bulls made. Trey Jones, Zach Collins, Kevin Huerter, all involved in that run that the Bulls made towards the end of this season. And now questions abound about will those guys stay because just of how well that they actually played for the team. So, yeah, you get credit for that too because I wasn't expecting anything from those guys to do anything when they got here, and they definitely balled out as well. So shout out to them for that. So, yeah, I give them that kind of credit. So probably that's what the C is for. C is for credit, and the plus is for Josh Giddey because just of how well he played, you might have yourself a true straight-up player that you can kind of build some of your team around. Not all of it, but some of your team you can build around Giddey.
Just going through these in order, like Giddey from a process standpoint, I didn't love it because I knew what else was out there. And so you could have had multiple draft picks. You probably could have even held the line with OKC and gotten a draft pick from them. I think the fact that they did the deal a week before the draft is indicative there, explaining that, like, if you had just been a little bit more patient or been willing to walk away from Presti, then maybe you get a pick out of it. But again, it goes to show that he was not in a position of power because he was the one that was coming after Josh Giddey.
Yes.
In terms of results on that deal, Giddey obviously outplayed whatever I thought he was going to be able to do. Like, this is not really a statement about or a judgment on Giddey the player. He far exceeded my expectations, but to your point, Dave, that you always make, like, you just could have gotten more. Yeah. And so from a process standpoint, that will always be flawed to me. But I do appreciate the fact that he was willing to buy low on a prospect. Like, that's the right approach. The execution was off. So the process okay on there, and that was really, I think, I don't know, maybe D is a little low for me when I'm just kind of talking through some of these. Obviously the Giddey trade turned out the way that it did, and Giddey's been great. And then the DeMar trade, I really did not like. It's good that you got something for him, but there was a first round pick that was traded in the DeMar DeRozan trade, and the Bulls did not get it when they gave it DeMar DeRozan. That's a problem. It goes back to signing Jalen Smith and not having the space to take back Harrison Barnes so that you could be the team that gets that pick. 2 second round picks. One of them's already out the door because you traded that with Zach Lavine to get off of him. So I was not a big fan of that deal. Obviously Duarte was just kind of around for a little while. The Bulls ended up waiving him
to bring in the trade guys.
Who else was part of that trade?
It's true.
Was it just Duarte? So
I think there was one other name when I was revisiting it today, and I was like, who the heck is that?
Yeah, so I think they basically saved some space. They got a couple of seconds for a guy that they weren't going to be able to re-sign. Yeah. But again, they had the power here. DeRozan wanted more money than any team was going to be able to give him on their own. They needed the Bulls to work with them to pull off a sign and trade. The Bulls could have been a team that was willing to take a draft pick or a first round pick and just didn't do it. So I was not a huge fan of that, although getting something was good. So to me, it was a below average trade. I'd probably give that one a D. And then the Zach trade I want to dive more into, but maybe we can do that one after the break here.
Sure. By the way, in that DeMar sign-in trade, it was Raekwon Gray that technically also went to the Bulls in that trade. Never seen that dude a day in my life.
Built for Cuban links.
Let's knock out a couple ads. We'll come back, round out our AK grades, and then we'll get to Billy. Hit the like button while we're sharing ads if you would like a tank spin.
The like button.
Katie needs some likes, y'all. And y'all need some likes if you want that tank spin.
Empire today. Oh, you need floors. No matter what. Just like your favorite team needs home court advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage. Empire Today can help you get it. Why? Because they are flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals whose focus is on flooring every single day. Now, we've all been to those big old box stores. You know, I done walked in there a couple times. You know, I was like, oh, need a hose. You know, some stuff I got to do at the house with the garden. Oh, I'm going to need a splitter for that because I got, you know, a bunch of grass. You know, side lawn, front lawn, backyard. Flex. Yeah, those are flexes. But yeah, I got stuff to take care of. So I go in there to get that. But then, you know, also in the home, you know, even though we just got some wood floors, you know, in other rooms in the home, I'm like, you know what? There's some other stuff down right here. You know, let me go ahead and take a look right there. And as soon as I say, let me take a look right there, hey, Big J, oh, yeah. No, it's that voice. It's got to be Biff. It's me. I got to help you with floors. Yeah, Biff, you know, do you know what would look good in my home right here? Oh, God, a question. I don't know what to do. I'm melting because I'm Biff and I don't know what I'm doing. Don't get biffed. Don't do it, ladies and gentlemen. Shop at home convenience. Empire Today. That is what you need. They live and breathe flooring, and they will be with you every step of the way. It's a whole different ball game. You can pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space. See how it looks with your furniture in your house. Get precise measurements taken and have all your questions answered so there will be no surprises. With Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. Not the next business day, the next day. You heard what I said. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using that promo code CHGO. You heard what I said, $350 discount just for using the code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details. 580 to 300 Peck.
Empire
Today.
Oh,
shout out to our guy Jimbo in the comments who just said, if everyone here orders carpeting or new floors, AK will be better at his job. I don't know how those two things are correlated, but I'm going to say believe him and order some new floors.
Yeah.
Today's show also brought to you by Lucy. Are you thinking about leveling up your nicotine routine? If so, I've got the answer for you. It's the fine variety of products offered from Lucy. They've got nicotine gum. They've got nicotine pouches. They also have nicotine pouches with a little extra boost of flavor and hydration they call Lucy Breakers. These are mine right here. Apple Ice, my favorite flavor. Tried a few different flavors and found the one I like the best. They got fruity flavors. They got minty flavors. They even got espresso flavored ones. So if you want to level up your nicotine routine, they've got a range of amount of nicotine in each piece of gum, in each pouch. So whatever your nicotine habit is, they've got the right amount for you. Pick and find your favorite flavors, and then have them show up at your door on a monthly delivery system. Weed out all those annoying trips to the gas stations, the bodegas, the discount tobacco outlet. No, be done with all that. It shows up at your door once a month. And then they'll send you an email a few days before that reorder processes to be like, hey, do you want to make any changes to your monthly subscription? If so, you can. If not, boom, on the way. I love them. I swear by them. And you will too. Plus, you can get 20% off your first order if you use promo code CHGO2025 when you go to lucy.co. That's lucy.co. Promo code CHGO2025. They also even have a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. What? So what do you got to lose? Trick question. Nothing. Lucy.co. CHGO2025. Again, that promo code. Level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age. Every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Before we dive back into our AK grades, I know Goat said you had another thought or two on the DeMar sign or the Zach Lavine trade.
One, yeah.
We do have a fun, exciting merch drop announcement for y'all. Maybe you were watching CHGO Blackhawks. I believe those gentlemen were also talking about it. But obviously the big talk around the globe yesterday is there is a new pope. and he is from Chicago. That's cool. The latest available item in that All-City merch locker is what we are calling our Sweet Pope Chicago shirt.
Oh,
check it out.
Oh,
check it out.
I like that.
The white smoke is cleared and it's official. The Pope is from Chicago. Commemorate this once-in-a-lifetime moment with our brand new CHGO Sweet Pope Chicago tee.
That's nice. By
going to that All-City merch locker, allchgo.com/merch today.
Bless yourself this weekend.
Grab one.
Get one. That's nice.
That is nice.
That is nice.
Nicer than the Bulls' return for the Zach Lavine trade.
I like how it's in the shape of the Pope hat too.
Yeah, with the little Chicago
stained glass
in the background and the stained glass.
Yeah, well done.
And the Chicago flag colors.
Feeling it.
It's all good.
Yeah, I'm feeling it.
Go Zach Lavine trade. Less cool than that new Pope shirt.
When the Zach trade happened, I think I was a little bit more forgiving on it than I think I am now. Okay. It was not like a disaster of a trade by any means. I think the big key for the Bulls, which was important, is getting off that third year and now aligning your cap sheet to be really flexible heading into the summer of 2026. Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and your own first-round pick back. You do send out a second-round pick. So that felt completely unnecessary when you're giving up Zach Lavine. Zach was playing really well, and I feel like they got a decent amount for him. When you look at the package that it turned into, like it's hard to weigh the value of the pick that they got because it's probably going to be 12, but they also probably could have kept it if they had just. So for me, like a lot of this is intertwined with the whole vision thing, and I'll come back to that. But yeah, just in terms of like the value on the deal itself, I feel like they probably could have done a little bit better if Zach had continued to play the way he was throughout the season, and they tried to move him this offseason. Maybe they would not be able to get that same cap flexibility out of that. So I do think that there is value in that one, but I think Zach Collins, Kevin Huerter, Trey Jones are just like these guys that are going to help prop you up back into mediocrity. They're good players that like are not going to let you be bad when you kind of need to be bad. So to me, this one was very much intertwined with the vision, as all of these have been. Again, I don't think any of these guys are bad players. I think they all exceeded expectations, but it was almost in a bad way because it probably hurts the Bulls in their attempt to try to get a franchise player in the draft. So yes, the flexibility that you get out of it in terms of the cap and in terms of having your own pick back, like that matters. But like Trey Jones, for example, same thing with THD. You're going to get this guy. I know they tried to move him, but now they're just going to lose him for nothing. You know, I mean, unless they're able to re-sign him or sign a trade. Yeah. So I didn't love that. I think it was like the least harmful in some ways of all three of these trades, but also just like there wasn't much upside with it.
Yeah.
What kind of a bar were you? The least harmful of all of these terrible trades we've made.
This poison won't kill you.
As you said, a lot of that kind of goes into the whole vision part of AK's job, of any NBA executive's job. So let's look at our vision grades next. I believe I gave him, an F. You also gave him an F. Dave, you gave him a C-. That's interesting. My explanation is really simple. Before he even finished saying the sentence, paraphrasing, we don't need star players to compete for an NBA championship, into a microphone at a press conference where he is the lead executive of an NBA team. My grade for what your vision is for building this team into a win, F. F. F, 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 F. That is asinine. It is wrong. It is proven to be wrong over decades of NBA basketball happening and champions being crowned. Your vision is to build a championship contender with 9 to 10 very good players. Get out of here with that nonsense. That's your vision? That's your vision. Your vision sucks. Your vision is terrible. Find a new vision. Find a new goddamn vision. F.
What was the grade?
F.
Just checking.
Dave, let's break it up here because I'm going F again too.
Yeah,
so
mine was simple. Mine was honestly more so what I've heard you say. Like, he had his vision and he executed his vision. like he did exactly what he wanted to do. was he built that team. And of course, that's the problem. That's the issue. But I gave him that because I'm like, yeah, that's what he wanted. This is what he wanted to do. This is what he wanted to build. Do I like any of it? No. Do I feel like mad about it? Yeah. Matt verbalizes it differently than I do, but I hate it. But it's his vision. It's what he wanted to do. He executed exactly what he wanted to do for this Bulls team. It's what he thinks is the best way forward. It's what he thinks is the best path forward. That is his vision. I hate it, but that is his vision. And so for the actual execution and doing what you actually said you were going to do, that's where the C- minus came from for me. That's all I got.
Yeah, like
you're giving him credit for following through on his terrible
on
plan.
What you said. Yeah, you know what I mean? If you're gonna have your ship, you steer your ship. Yeah, he steered into a damn iceberg. Yeah, he did that.
But it's okay because
sure.
that's what he wanted.
I didn't say it was okay. I'm just saying you get credit because, hey, I gave him his credit. He said, hey, you know what? I want to hit this iceberg and go down. Mission accomplished, baby. You hit that iceberg and you went right on down. You did that.
I went with a slightly different approach.
Right Yo, man, go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I went with a slightly different approach. To me, it was more just like whether I agree with the vision or not, and the answer to that is no.
No.
The 9 to 10 good players thing, like, maybe I'm wrong for this, but like I do want to give him the benefit of the doubt and understand that, like, obviously you need really good players, like star level players, to actually compete at a high level. Mm-hmm. But depth, as we're seeing in the playoffs, is still an important piece of that. Maybe that's giving him too much credit. But to me, just the idea of like building through the middle is just not feasible. And so it was almost impossible for me to separate vision from the overall grade for me. So I'm just going to talk about both of these. Nate Duncan did a podcast recently with Jerry Engelman, who's the creator of RAPM, which is like one of the, more notable all-in-one stats. Worked for ESPN for a long time. Very smart guy in terms of how do we quantify basketball players. And one thing that they talked about was quagmire players. And quagmire player they define as a player who helps you be good enough to be in the middle, but not so good that you're actually competing for anything, and better than you need to be in order to tank. And like, to me, that's what this whole thing represents. It's going after guys that help you stay afloat, tread water, be in the middle, and they're doing it happily. They're not like, they don't have a vision or an ambition to be more than that unless it just like happens to work out magically for them. And so I don't think that like tanking is a foolproof method. I don't necessarily think that like this draft is even that good outside of the top two. It's more to me just like this overall approach of we think we're above that. We don't need to like go towards the bottom. We don't need to prioritize draft capital. And if you're like not collecting draft picks, then you're not going to find a guy at the top of the draft. If you're not making high-level trades to get a guy and you're not going to be a real player in free agency, like how are you going to get a guy? Those are the three ways to do it. You're not doing any of them. So to me, like this whole thing circles back to this vision of we're going to be able to build through the middle. And I just fundamentally disagree that that's a real thing.
Agreed.
I just like when we say a vision on par with lighting a cigarette on the lakefront with the sunlight.
Good luck with that. With
awesome.
that, let us get to our meathead grades for AK, and then we'll move on to Billy. Obviously, overall, we got some Fs and a D plus there. I think those are deserved grades. You're not passing as an executive with what you're doing right now, but we got a lot of M's. And a couple of D's. Wait, Dave. Davis is just 4 M's.
Yeah.
Make me mad mostly. Mostly make me mad.
Sure.
I was wondering if it was going to be just a sound effect.
No, it's not a sound effect. It's not a sound effect. It is mired in the muck of middling mediocrity.
Wow. Okay.
That's the happy place. That's the joy. He's like, hey, I like being in this kind of mud. It's cool. You want to get out that mud? Maybe go clean up yourself and take a shower and dance in the water with everybody? Nope, I'll stay. I enjoy smelling like a pig. It's ridiculous, man. Like, to just be there in the middle and to stay there. I don't get it, and it feels like just, it feels like a fan building it kind of thing. Like I'm hoping and I'm wishing and I'm like, yo, that's got to work out. Like I'm going to be doing Monday, in the draft. Like hoping and wishing like, yo, man, we got to get this pick. This could turn everything around for us. That's reserved for me. You know what I'm saying? Not somebody making six figures and putting this stuff together. It needs to be a better plan on these things. So it feels like the plan is just to stay right there in the middle. Like, I'm going to hover around 500, you know, and it feels even worse because you're doing it in the East. So it feels even worse to me. You know, like, if I think of the middle in the West, it's a team like the Clippers who are like the 4th or 5th seed. You know what I'm saying? That's their mediocrity. Ours is like, dude, we're just barely making a play in, and we're cool with that. Like, that's why I feel like it feels like that isn't going to change as it continues to go. You're going to need some luck. You're going to need some hope. You're going to need some free agent help and all this other stuff. But it just feels like he's very comfortable with being right in the middle, and nobody should ever be comfortable with just being right in the middle.
Fair enough. Goat, what was your meathead grade for AK?
What are you doing?
Whoa. That's a great guess.
I know it ain't well done.
Wasteland.
I got one, but I'll tell you off here. What
is it, Goat?
Wholeheartedly disagree.
Oh, I like it.
Wholeheartedly disagree.
Wholeheartedly.
Just the whole thing, like you're saying, Dave. It's not like even again, if you're giving them the benefit of the doubt of like the last couple of years, you've got DeRozan, you've got Caruso, you've got Zach. Maybe if Lonzo comes back, like you're kind of trapped there because of the cap situation. It's self-imposed, but you do have like a team that maybe you believe in, and you're not ready to give that up. Now it's like they are rebuilding the roster. They are changing things around, transforming, as he says. But like they're still going for that same place. Yeah. And to me, that's just like, it's a non-starter for me in terms of how I think about basketball. Like everything that they're doing, I just disagree with. So I think they are stuck in the middle. I think they are going to be stuck in the middle. And I don't think they really have any plan or idea of how to get out of there. And I don't even know that they want to. So I wholeheartedly disagree with that.
That's a perfect segue to my meathead grade for AK. MBN TWFD. Any guesses?
My beautiful, not twisted, worst fantasy.
Damn, it's not a 20-year-old Kanye album. Must be nice.
Must be nice to
work for dwarfs. Must be nice to work for dwarfs.
Here we go.
Nowhere we go.
No, I'm saying here we go. I'm excited.
It's all been said. I got my anger and my volume out with my vision grade.
I don't believe you.
How many NBA executives have been fired, replaced, mutually agreed to part ways over the last couple of years? A handful. More than a handful. No one is talking about AK being on a hot seat right now because his bosses are more than okay with another playing game at home. Sweet Jerry boy. That's all. The bar is so freaking low for a Chicago Bulls lead executive. It is a joke if it weren't insulting to the fan base as much as it is. But it is a joke how much job security this dude has for failing this bad at the job. If the job is build a winning basketball program because you stink at it. But hey, you work for the Dwarfs, so it's okay. Here's another paycheck. Ridiculous.
I mean, you just did the video explaining the 10-year anniversary of the Derrick Rose bank shot.
Yeah.
That was 10
Last
years
time the
ago,
Bulls won a game in the second round of the playoffs?
Decade. But
it's a decade ago yesterday.
Go watch it if you haven't already.
Beyond that. It's even beyond that for me because Tom Thibodeau was escorted out of the building after that series because losing in the second round was not good enough.
Yeah.
And now they're in the play-in every year. They can't even win their way to the 8th seed, which is below what they were doing before. And somehow that has been turned into good enough. And it's just, I wholeheartedly disagree.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly. All right. With that, let us move to Billy Donovan. I was a bit kinder to Billy because I think he did his job better than AK did his job this season. Let's take a look before we bring up the report card. I wanted to just get a quick glance of what the Bulls did offensively and then defensively this season compared to last. So let's start with offense. The Bulls had a 114.1 offensive rating this season, which was 20th in the NBA. Last season, they were a tick better, 114.9 and the 19th offense. You can say, well, you lost DeMar DeRozan in his offensive production. Midway through the season, you lose Zach Lavine in his offensive production. So staying right around where you were in its own right could be called an achievement.
Yeah.
Because you're getting the same offensive production from a vastly different group of players.
Yeah.
And on top of that, of course, if you note there, that three-point attempt rate, a vastly different style of offense. I didn't put pace in there, but we all know that is a huge jump as well. But the Bulls went from, a bottom-of-the-barrel three-point attempt rate team last season, the last several seasons, to tied for 4th this season. Effective field goal percentage fell a bit, 534 to 553. Oh, I'm sorry, improved. I think that should say 18th on the right, Katie. Turnover percentage, not a huge jump there, but they did turn the ball over more this season. They were a much worse offensive rebounding team this season compared to last. They put more of an emphasis on it last season. Free throws per field goal attempt, bottom of the barrel this season and last. So obviously the big changes were in pace of play and three-point attempt rate. When you put all the factors together, the Bulls were just there between mid-tier and bottom-tier offensive team last year. They were again this year.
And to me, like, when you look at the efficiency of it all, like, watching the Pacers, like, I do think it's possible to win playing that style. They do a very similar thing. The Pacers are more talented, to be sure. But I do think that, like, there's an argument to be made that, like, this can be more effective. But the fact of the matter is it wasn't. And I think that there was this, like, narrative that maybe I wasn't in tune enough with over the course of the season that although they were playing a more compelling brand of basketball, it wasn't resulting in better basketball. It was just resulting in a more aesthetically pleasing thing. And to me, that loops back in with the front office vision thing. It's like they're just trying to make it look like they're onto something when in reality, you look at the numbers and they're basically the same level of mediocre as they were last year.
Yeah.
Dave, something that you feel encouraged by with, like, the big shift in how they were playing offensively compared to the results?
Sure. That kind of played into what I gave him for the grade was just and I've said this during the season, I watched that man flip an offense in a year and turn it into a really, really solid, good offense for this team. And not just changing different players around, like changing the whole philosophy of your team offensively, because the Bulls were not this at all with DeMar DeRozan. We would say it's screaming for more three-point shooters, screaming for more three-point attempts. Now you can't get them to stop doing it. You know what I mean? They are fast. They're moving up and down the floor. The pace, that they play at is just much higher. Like, and I have to give him credit for doing that in a year. And while you're still making trades in the season, so new guys are coming in that you're plugging in and replacing to try to fit this new style, and you are doing it correctly. Like, yes, all kudos to him for that. There's other stuff I'll get into about Billy for sure, but I don't think you can really go against what he did offensively for the Chicago Bulls this year.
So let's bring up the report cards. Offensively, what did we give Billy Donovan? B-, a B, and an A from GOAT. So, I think I gave him credit for the big shift of how they played, as you were just talking about, Dave. But the results weren't great. As far as, like, where does your team's offense stack up across the rest of the league? You were 19th last year. You were 20th this year. Like, cool. I gave him a B- because it was a lot of work to completely change the way you're playing and doing it with different pieces. And Josh Giddey ascending into this huge role down the stretch when you got a lot of your wins, and Kobe White taking on a bigger role. And also in the first half of the season, with Zach Lavine still being here and a big part of it, you went 18-20 when people thought you weren't going to be a team that was going out there and trying to and achieving wins on a nightly basis. But you were a nearly 500 team and then continued to make changes on the back half of the season. I'll give a B- for that, but that's about it, because you're still a bottom third team in the NBA.
Yeah, and again, that's why you got a B for me for everything I just said, and just to do that during a season while it's going on, all these changes, and the young guys of it as well. So becoming a young team. And then, like, I'm going to throw a rookie in this lineup also. Oh, Patrick Williams is not good. Oh, man, I got to make that change. Oh, Ayo Dosunmu had 15 shoulder separations. Oh, well, he's going to be out of here. Oh, Lonzo Ball. How about bringing him back in? Oh, man, he's back out. Like, all these changes. Like, Trey Jones. Oh, you're good? Yes, please. Like, to do all of that but still have the team focused in on what they wanted to do offensively is deserving of a B for me. I couldn't give him the A. I'm curious to hear why GOAT is. I couldn't give it to him just because of the results of everything, and I'll get into that later. But offensively, though, man, like, honestly, I don't think there's anything I can really say bad about Billy Donovan and what he did offensively. He deserves all the credit in the world.
Yeah, the reason I went A, and maybe you guys are talking me down off of it a little bit here, but I think for me it was more of a process thing. Like, they understood this summer, and you do have to, I think, credit Arturas for this too, and being involved in those conversations and just the way that they wanted to play, but understanding that they couldn't do it the way that they had been doing it anymore. They needed to change things. I give him credit for getting Zach Lavine to buy in when that was a very sticky situation.
Yeah.
I give him credit for the way that he brought Modest along when I think a lot of us disagreed with that from the start. He really helped develop Modest. I mean, Modest was a sub 30% three-point shooter in the G League last year. That's a big reason why he slipped in the draft. And he shot 36% this year. So I give him credit for that. And I give him credit for the fact that we saw a career year from Josh Giddey in the way that he was playing, especially on the offensive end. So I agree that the results I probably didn't factor in quite enough in terms of like, yeah, but what it all mean. But I do think just from a process standpoint that he really, I felt his impact on how the Bulls changed their identity this year on the offensive end. And I think that's a really hard thing to do from year to year.
The Gaities in the comments said Billy turned a lot of chicken into chicken salad. That's a good way to put it.
True.
All right, let's talk about Bulls defensive numbers for a second. Obviously, part credit to Billy because he is the head coach, but we also know that Wes Unseld Jr., who, you know, has gotten a lot of credit for what he's done as a defensive-minded coach, even before his stint in Washington with that Denver Nuggets team that he was coaching for.
He had a great line early on the season. Billy, I think, missed a game. He was sick or something like that. And we were asking Unseld about like his role and like what his job was on the staff. And he was like, somebody asked like, your role is to be kind of the defensive coordinator, right? And he's like, only if we do well.
There you go. I'll take the credit when it's there, pass the buck when it's not. But so, Katie, if you want to throw those defensive stats up there, believe it or not, the Bulls had a better switch of defensive rating than offensive rating from last year to this year. 115.6 defensive rating this year, still just 18th in the NBA, but they were the 21st defense in the NBA last year with a 116.3. I think a lot of that was the Bulls climbing out of the basement of defensive ratings in the back third of the season. With a lot of those wins coincided teams that were tired, that did not want to run with the Bulls, and were missing a lot of shots on tired legs. And the Bulls were running past them, including a lot of big fourth quarters and second halves. But credit to the Bulls, those numbers still count.
Yes.
Opponent field goal percentage, they went from 22nd to 10th. Credit to them for that. They barely forced any opponent turnovers, 29th in the NBA in that category. They went from top 10 to top 5 on defensive rebounding percentage, so credit to them for that. And made a marginal improvement at keeping their opponents off the free throw line compared to last year. So some good, and maybe some surprisingly better than you would expect when you go back and look at the Bulls' whole body of work. Defensive numbers. Those are better than I would have guessed.
Yeah, definitely better than anybody would have guessed. And again, Billy deserves credit for that. Nothing about this team says they're going to be a defensive stalwart. Your center isn't. You know what I'm saying?
Like, you lost Caruso.
Correct.
You lose Lonzo for most, half the season.
Your second best defender is out. Your third best defender gets put out for the year as well. So you lose all that, but you still have these guys buy in to the whole kind of group thing. And it was defense by committee, which is something I said when the season started. That was exactly how they were going to have to defend, was by committee. And they did it. They actually did it. Now, when it came time to get down to that nitty gritty, they were like, this is who we are. Yeah, sorry. So they're not super great, but those numbers just like are indicative of just how solid of a coach Billy Donovan honestly is, because they should have been worse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, than what we saw, losing all the guys we saw and replacing them with guys, you know what I'm saying, like a THT in there. He's not known as a defensive stopper out there. Neither is Kevin Huerter.
What's the opposite of a defensive
stopper? You know what I'm saying? He's just not known for those things. So, yeah, having new guys who are more offensively driven buy in to a little more defense. Even Josh Giddey, you know what I'm saying, had him bought in on some defensive stuff. Even have Vooch bought in on it. Like, hey, you are 7 feet tall, close to it. Put your hands in the air sometimes, Like, so Billy did a good job of that, and I'll just heap more credit on him for that.
Yeah, and you saw progress as the year went on too, right? Yeah. And they were 7th in defense after All-Star break. Again, say what you will about the schedule, that's a really good number. I think that they really benefited from some good shooting luck. Opponents shot the lowest percentage on corner threes against them of the entire league, and the 3rd lowest effective field goal percentage overall. So they got some luck just from teams missing shots, but I do think that the way that they played informed that, right? Like teams were pretty tired and they probably had dead legs, especially late in games, and that allowed the Bulls to pull ahead. So I think you got to give him credit for doing that with the personnel that he had. This is not a team that should have been outside the bottom 5 in defense. And I mean, they weren't terrible, but they weren't good either. But I don't know.
Not terrible,
I feel like you got to give them some credit for that.
Bulls wheelhouse, not terrible, not good. That's going to do it for those of you watching on our streaming services. If you want that bonus coverage, that overtime CHGO Bulls, just head to allchgo.com.
Cussing time.
With that, gentlemen,
a tank spin.
we did hit over 50 likes, so we will get to a tank spin. But before that, we got to give Billy his meathead grade. Before Meathead's overall grades, let's put the report card back up. A couple of C pluses and a B. Curious to get your thoughts on the B grade goat, but I think maybe part of your explanation on what he did to earn his offensive defensive grades kind of help us explain that. To me, I went C plus because I think Billy is a C plus coach in this league, and I think he did a C plus job this season. He did some stuff well. He did some stuff not so well. He got exposed for the 3rd straight year in a winner-go-home play-in tournament game by Eric Spoelstra, a truly elite NBA coach. Billy Donovan is not an elite NBA coach. He also is not the worst coach ever that I think a lot of this fan base tries to pin him as.
Correct.
Because look around, y'all. There are a lot of problems with this organization not named Billy Donovan. But he's also, he is what he is.
He is what he is. That's what it is. He is what he is. Take it or leave it. That's how I feel about it when people want to say about Billy Donovan. He's right in the middle as a coach. Not great. If you want to argue good, you can, for sure. But he's not bad, and he's not terrible. You can talk to the players, and they'll tell you that. Modest is this is the best coach I've ever had. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, that's really important. Billy Donovan is a good to average, above average to good NBA coach, man. And
you don't get elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame being a terrible coach.
You better say that. That is a fact. You just don't
I don't care if it's it was college, not the NBA. No.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't happen that way at all for nobody. You don't just put in somebody who's he doesn't chew gum. You're in. That's just not how it works, man. So no, Billy deserves all the love and the credit for what he's done to help this team turn around and to find themselves some type of identity this year, because that's what running did for them this year. Is he created an identity for this team, man, that they did not have, and he did it in a year. That's impressive. I'm impressed by that.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of on the same page. To me, it was I thought he was above average, so I went with a B. I was even thinking B plus, but then I felt like I couldn't go there because of what you said, Matt, about the play-in game and just not being prepared in that situation to basically play the same game that you did a couple days before.
It's not like he had any tape.
And think that was going to work again.
Correct.
But overall, I think Billy is a very solid coach. I think he's above average, so I gave him a B.
Rob in the comments saying, Billy isn't the problem, but he represents the mid culture.
That's a fair way to say it.
Astute observation.
Fair.
With that, our meathead grades for one Billy Donovan. Ooh, my goodness. Goat with a symphony of letters.
I knew goats the second I saw it, and I won't
take
spoil
a guess.
it. It did the most with what he had.
Correct.
Wow.
It did the most with
I
what he
didn't
had.
have a chance to look at all the letters, and Katie knew it immediately.
Well, I
was
saw
going
it.
to guess it started with Dalen Terry for some reason. I see DT, I think Dalen Terry.
No, yeah, I think he just did as best he could with the pieces that he had on the roster. I never criticized the coach for not wanting to win every game. I think he approached the season. I feel like I learned a lot from him, the way he was talking about player development with Modest in particular. I thought he was hard on Giddey when he needed to be, pulling him off the court. I just thought he was like did the most with what he could have, especially when you factor in the extreme change of style from last year to this year. I thought he was very solid.
Yeah, I agree.
Dave, your meathead grade was DJW. DJW.
Mm-hmm.
Dude just wins 39-43. No, that can't be it.
Is that right?
Is it?
You said it right, but that's not. You said the word. You got it right, but it's dude just win.
Ah, okay.
That's it.
A command or suggestion.
Dude, just win.
Not a statement.
Just win. Like, that's it. You know, like we can sit and argue Hall of Fame. He's good. Give him this, give him that. It's a bottom line thing. And again, we obviously know all of this isn't on Billy, but you are the face of it. Okay? You are the head of the team. That is who you are. You get the credit when it goes great. You don't get the credit when it goes bad. But if you're just looking at the raw numbers of it, Billy's been here, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years? One winning season. One. And in that one winning season, they, 46-36, and you were out of here in that first round. Again, it was the Bucks, and they were vicious, and you got a game out of that, which was awesome, because I remember Matt and I going crazy over there because they got that one win. But since then, it's just been mediocrity, playing. Also, I've watched you in those moments in that postseason. Like, what are you doing? I've definitely said, I still remember, was it last year when he took Kobe out the game?
Oh, yeah.
Against the Miami Heat when Kobe was cooking and brought in Patrick Beverly, and then the game was over. The Miami this year was wild, because like you said, it wasn't like you had tape on this going in. It looked like they hadn't played Miami all season long. And that's preparation, and that is on the coach. So those things so in the end, I can say all these things, and somebody's just going to sit and look at your record and what it is with the Chicago Bulls, and it's not great. So just win. I understand you're doing the most with the least, but just win. I've watched you win with the lesser teams in the West where they didn't even have you guys going to the playoffs, and it had a percentage chance like 0.6, and y'all still ended up in the playoffs. I've seen you win, bro. Like, I know you can do this, so, dude, just win. Just win.
Just to go back to a comment that somebody made about, like, Billy not being the problem, but he's representative of the issues.
Yeah.
I think that was a good point. Billy is the 4th longest tenured coach in the entire NBA right now. Only Spo, Steve Kerr, and Tom Thibodeau have been employed longer. And really, Tibbs, Billy Donovan, Tyronn Lue, and Mark Daigneault were all hired during the 2020 offseason.
Yo, that's crazy.
Those are like 45-plus win second round of the playoff coaches every year. And again, I think Billy's a good coach. I don't think he's the problem with this. I think he does the most with what he has. Wow. But the result has just not been there. And I think that is a larger organizational issue.
And look, you could say, conversely, our friends in PHNX who are like, I'm sorry, we fired how many coaches in how many years now? Like, there is something to be said for like having the same coach in the same system for many years to build something.
Correct.
But that's if it's working.
Exactly. And look, Billy's is what Billy and AK have tried to build together working? Depends on who you ask. I think most fans would say no. Because they've lost in the play-in tournament for 3 straight years now.
AK said it's working.
It's crazy that that's the case. And it kind of makes you want, like, dude, Billy, are you even happy here? Do you want to be here with this job? Is it just a job and a paycheck and you're fine with that? Do you actually want to win? Are you as competitive as some people say you are? Because if you are as competitive as some people say you are who know you best, and you're cool with just going to the play-in tournament and maybe winning one before you lose the second every year, until you're like too old to coach anymore? How could that be fun? How can that be rewarding for somebody who is in the Basketball Hall of Fame for being a coach?
You know when those questions don't come up? When you win. Just win.
He's not. I just like Billy, if I'm Billy Donovan, I'm sick of this right now.
At the every day that we talk to him, the message is always very consistent about like trying to improve, trying to win every game in front of them. And then like at the end of each of the last couple of years, he has admitted like, this is obviously not where we want to be. And again, I don't place any of this blame on Billy, but it's like, you can't just continue to do the same thing and expect the result to be different. You can't
definition of insanity.
Go through. You can't get out of the middle by trying to go through the middle. I just don't believe that that's possible. And again, this is not Billy's fault. In some ways, I don't even think it's Arturas' fault. I think it's ownership. But yeah, I don't see how any of this is going to change without an extreme amount of lottery luck. And so let's hit the tank down.
Yeah, one more meathead grade. And no, I'm not calling Billy Donovan a hag, because that would be mean.
Almost perfect.
Almost. Hope all is good.
No.
Have a gas. Hate all.
No hate. He's a guy.
Okay.
When I think about where I am as a Bulls fan, what's wrong, what needs fixing, where I want this team to go, and who is the biggest problem, Billy Donovan is not the biggest problem. He's not one of the organization's best assets right now.
Yeah.
Because he's not one of the best coaches in the league, not by a long shot. He's also not their biggest problem, and I will continue to say that until the Billy haters freaking open their eyes and take a chill pill. He's a guy.
He's a guy.
If the Bulls, they're a team, technically. And he is a guy. Like Rob said in the comments earlier, it's like he is the perfect head coach for an NBA team. He is mid. They are mid. All is mid. That's the C+ grade. He's a guy. Not to be confused with the Chris Collinsworth. Now, here's a guy. He's not that guy. He's a guy.
Well, that Caleb Williams. Here's a guy.
Well, this guy just loves football.
He's got to have it. 2-yard game.
Katie, is it time for a text, man? Vision, AK. That's your vision?
The tank spin is his. Here we go. Hope and luck, baby. Hope and luck. We've been 12 like all week.
Yeah, we have not jumped up yet.
We might even get 2 spins today because it's our last chance. We might even. Who knows?
All right.
It's possible that we might even get
All right, I'm resetting.
Reset button. Come on, baby. Juice.
Oh my God! Oh my!
Did we just speak into existence?
We just did it.
The Bulls jumping up on Monday?
We just did it.
Or did we just jinx them and now they won't jump up?
No, they're jumping up.
They're jumping up.
It's a Friday.
Yes, a Friday.
The last one.
Yeah.
The final spin. And they nailed it. What's that called? Hope and luck. That's what it's called. They nailed it. Shout out to Katie. Well done.
That's huge. That's huge. Talk about weekend vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Good thing we got likes.
This
could not have happened without you
when
guys.
you hit the like button, y'all.
Yes.
We got that last tank spin of the week, and it was the magic one.
Yes, enjoy that.
And not the magic one as in recent years past where we hand our lottery pick to the Magic of Orlando. No, that lottery magic, baby.
Oh, man.
Woo!
Woo!
I feel good.
That's good stuff.
I'm ready to start the weekend.
It's kind of ironic because it's like all the stuff that we just talked about can only be absolved if they get the #1 pick this year.
And it's not even absolved. It's just like, oh, you got lucky.
You're right.
You got like minuscule percentages lucky.
Yeah,
that's that.
Let's do it again Monday.
Katie was like, should we wait until after the lottery to give AK his grades? And I was like, no, because even if the Bulls jump up in the lottery on Monday, that would not have impacted and made my grade of AK kinder than doing it today, because he doesn't get credit if they get 1.7% lucky or even 8% lucky.
Yeah,
those numbers are what they are because of the decisions he made.
Who was number 2?
Bulls fans feel differently about that. That's fine.
Katie, who was number 2 on that?
Washington
was ours.
Okay.
Did anybody else move up?
I
can't see.
Nope.
Toronto.
Toronto went from 7 to 4. Ooh, so that's rough for Utah, who falls to 5.
Ooh, yeah.
And the Pels, who fall to 6.
Yeah,
good. Philly gives up their pick. Philly gives their pick.
And Philly falling to 7th, surrender their top 6 protected to Oklahoma City, because you know what OKC needs is some more quality first-round picks.
Oh, I'm just going to stare at that for a second.
Yeah.
Just look at that. 11 spots.
Looks good.
Wow, that looks nice.
I think you're all now legally required to buy the Pope shirt. Like, I think that's how this works.
Grab a Pope shirt.
We manifested that. The Pope manifested
For those of you who are believers of that variety,
buy it.
maybe a Pope shirt will bring us a little more luck on Monday.
Come on with it. Come on with it.
That'll do it. Had a nice, juicy, extra long episode to send y'all into the weekend because we had to grade AK and Billy. That's a lot to smash into one episode, but we did it. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for the likes. Make sure you keep that tab open always and subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We're off this weekend. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll be back Monday night with our live NBA Draft Lottery special at that special time. The lottery starts 6 p.m. Central as that half-hour televised event before the first playoff game. We will be here starting at 6 p.m. Central. May or may not have an Uncle Will sighting hanging out with us. Go. You're going to be at the lottery itself, yes?
I'll be there.
Flexing.
Reporting. Follow him, Will_Gottlieb. Read his stuff, allchgo.com. Become a diehard so you can read all of it and throw him those mailbag questions. Big Dave's a bow, BAWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. The queen of the controls is the one and only Katie Duffy, who brought that number 1 pick with the spin.
Reset button.
See Red, be good, Bulls Nation. FAK!
Hope and luck. Let's go.
Vision. You're blind.
We all silly like the mayor.